Hey guys, welcome back to the ranch. Today we're going to look at continuing laying hardwood floor here on the upstairs floor of our new house. We're basically placing old carpet, putting down new hardwood floor. I've already done it in my daughter's room, out here in the hallway, into the master bedroom. And today I'm looking at doing it in here in my son's bedroom. We are laying pre-finished 4-inch natural color finish red oak hardwood floor, and step one to the whole process is moving all his toys out, all of his furniture out, his throw carpet, get that out, getting off the doors from his closet so he can pull all that carpet area out and start pulling out carpets. So let's get to it. And there we go. Got the bedroom pretty much cleaned out as much as I'm gonna do. I'm leaving the bed in here and the night table. I'll just be scooching those over and, you know, turning back and forth, but my son's gonna be sleeping outside of his room for the next couple nights. So next up is gonna be cutting and tearing up this carpet down here. This carpet is, I don't know, probably about 20 something years old from the previous owners. It's got spots and stuff. It's starting to wrinkle and it's not really nice, and we're not a fan of carpets, so it's gotta go. Anyway, since I am throwing this stuff away into the local trash with our local trash, our weekly trash, I have a size limit that I can cut the carpet to so that they will actually take it along. So I'll be cutting it in strips about the width of this door, length down, tying it together, and that's about the size that our trash company will take along with us. If you have a dumpster, cut it as large as you want to and start tearing it out. And yeah, just get yourself a utility knife, start cutting and start pulling. Yes, I got myself my sweatband. So carpet's up. You can see over here, I already started removing the underlayment. Next step over here is to pull up the underlayment too. And then once you do that, the underlayment is going to be held on by a lot of staples here. And it's fine technically if you leave them, but it does make for a smoother install of the hardwood floor if you remove them, just for the sliding of the pieces together. So I found, take yourself a putty knife, and if you then just slide into them, they will just fly out without much hesitation, like that. So pull up the underlayment, get up all those staples from all over. As I use the putty knife, and use your shop vacuum to vacuum everything up. And after that, we will take care of the tack strips all along the edging, and we will be done with removing stuff out and we'll be ready to start putting stuff in. So for the next cleanup part, removing these tack strips all around here. It's pretty simple. Small little pry bar, hammer, some kind of pliers, and just get underneath. Sometimes you can do it, most of the time you can do it like this. Just hold like this, go underneath where the nails are. You'll see the nails that are facing down, unlike the ones that are facing upwards. And just tie it up all around the room. And then just be careful, because it's got all these, you know, little tacks looking up here that held the carpet down. Put this in your trash can. If you got any loose nails that stay behind, now pry them up. And in the end, we're gonna go around, vacuum all that up, and then we're gonna be able to remove the baseboards all around, because it's a 3/4 inch hardwood floor, so it's gonna sit higher than the baseboard. So we're gonna have to remove baseboard all around the room. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out all these strips now. No real need for you guys to watch me. I'm literally just gonna be doing this all around the room, and I'll just show you when I'm done. So I got tack strips up all around this side. I'm gonna start now removing the baseboard so that I can remove the furniture from that side over to that side. Anyway, the easiest I find it is, depending how old your baseboards are, and you know, mine are not painted technically and not caulked, but I still like to run the knife on top, because this house is from the late 80s and it has had like 3 or 4 owners before us, so you can imagine it's gotten a couple coats of paint here and there in nearly 40 years. Which means even if they mask nicely, there's still gonna be a chance that it'll be sticking together. So just, you know, run your knife slowly in between to loosen that. Then I find it easiest if you just start again with your putty knife, and you'll see there's always going to be nails like near a door frame, into the door frame itself, and then usually every 16 inches into a stud. But just slowly get behind, you know, and just slowly pry your way up. Not crazy. Here you can see 2 pieces actually come together, and how it's cut on here. You can see the angle cut is like this, meaning this part should come off before this part. So I'm just gonna go keep it on. Now it's possible that it's glued, but from the other, I mean the joint there glued, that's what I mean. But from the other rooms that I did, none of those joints were ever glued, so I'm just gonna assume they're not glued here. And we're gonna just keep on going all the way to the end here. And then walk it out a bit. Just see, slowly start prying out. Get a little lower. And just take your time. Sometimes the nails will stay in the wall. Sometimes they will come out along. And sometimes you'll want to go get a different pry tool. But all in all, just slowly work yourself around everything here. As you can see, there's like nail on top, nail on the bottom here, smaller nail here. In my case, it depends if this baseboard had ever been removed before, because the original fastening and later on fastening seems to be different. I want to get this off with as little damage as possible, because these are, I think, solid pine baseboards. It's not the most expensive, but if we don't have to replace them, you know, why should we? And you can also use your little pry bar here. And you know, usually it'll stick or catch where the nails are. So just go next to the nails, because where the nails are, there's also supposed to be a stud behind it, which means you'll minimize the risk of damaging the drywall by doing this. But, you know, you're never 100% sure until you're done taking it out. Just be careful. Pull it out. Put it aside. Down here you can even see they put some doubling up there. But yeah, this is how it looks. Now, I'll just show how we're gonna do it on this one, just to finish it up here. Because I'm going to start labeling this one right here. Because yes, that's something you want to do. You want to label your baseboards so that when you go to put them back again, it's easier for you to put them back. One hand, it's kind of fun. Okay, there we go. So, in my case, I'm going to start with this piece right here, and I'm going to be labeling clockwise in the room. So you can name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna name this one Q1, because my son's name is Quentin, and then a wall, I'm gonna put a little 1. And yes, that is a European one. Look on your keyboard, on your phone. That's how the 1 is actually written, not just a stripe. And we have Q2, and we'll put a 2 on here. Now this is hidden behind the baseboard afterwards, so it really does not matter. And we'll just keep going around the room here. Now, important tip, if I can find my pliers. Left them over here. Now you'll say, what's with all these nails looking out here? Okay, don't try to force them backwards and pull them out. That just makes a pain. I got these, I think they're called snip pliers. I don't know, they're called Beißzange in German, biters. It's really nice. You can go on, you can grab the nail, and then you can just pull it all the way, the rest of the way through. Because these things are already pretty much all the way through. And you'll see it just leaves then a little hole here that you'll need to fill, or not, depending how, you know, anal retentive you are. But chances that you're damaging it when you try to push it out is much harder than if you just pull it the rest of the way through. And we're just gonna go ahead and be doing that the rest of the way all around with all the baseboards. And when we get that all done, that all vacuumed again, we are gonna go ahead and start screwing down the subfloor again, as this now is the perfect time to do so. Even though the subfloor is nailed and screwed, but after 40 years, you never know. And if you already got the whole floor up, might as well re-screw the subfloor just to be on the safe side. Doesn't cost that much to put, you know, a couple pounds of screws all over your floor. But just gives you that extra peace of mind to eliminate any squeaks that you have now, or any squeaks, possible squeaks down the future. All right, I'll get back to you once this is all done and I start screwing down the subfloor. All the baseboards off, everything nicely tucked away. And yes, it is the next day. And now I am going to go start screwing down this subfloor again. And it's gonna be rather easy. Basically, just go look to where the nails are, where they nailed down the subfloor originally, and go screw it in between the nails all along the floor joists. Now, as I stated before, I know that this floor was glued and nailed down, but I also found out on the other rooms that sometimes the row of nails were like 1 inch to 1.5 inches next to the joist. So when you go and start screwing in your screws, you'll realize that they don't bite, and yeah, that's how I found that out. And I'm just using some 2-inch number 9 construction screws with a Torx head here. And that's what I'm going to be using to screw down everything in here, just to make sure it does not squeak now, nor will it ever squeak in the future. So this is technically an optional step. You can also just walk around in the floor and, you know, see if you got a squeaky spot somewhere, and the goes just screw down that area, or you can just leave it like this if you want to, and just go straight on to the vapor barrier step. I'm gonna go ahead and screw all of this down here, and I'll get back to you once I'm done screwing down, because watching me screw in a couple hundred screws is gonna be pretty boring. So one of your very important tools you're gonna wanna have is a multi-tool, reciprocating multi-tool. Get yourself a metal blade or a bi-metal blade and a wood blade. You're gonna use this for multiple things. Number one, you're gonna need it to undercut all your door jambs, because as you can see, this is the thickness of the hardwood we're laying, 3/4 inch. So you wanna get this underneath here. And the easiest way to get those door jambs undercut is gonna be with a reciprocating multi-tool. You're also gonna use it to cut off nails, like down here, where they didn't nail the wall in nice and flush, so you can get the boards out nicer. Even though you're gonna wanna keep a distance to it. Sometimes just, you know, moving stuff back and forth, you're gonna wanna cut that off nice and flush. Also, if you have a misfire in your floor nailer and you got a cleat that doesn't sink all the way, you don't wanna try to pull the cleat out or hammer it in any way. You'll just wanna cut it off. At the reciprocating multi-tool is the best. Choose the one of your preference. So I'll give you an example of how you want to do it. Get yourself, I'll put you guys over here, just get yourself a scrap piece of wood, slide it up all against it, and slide your multi-tool like that on top. And then all you're gonna have to do is slide it back and forth while cutting, and that'll give you the exact thickness you want to undercut and give you a perfect flush cut between your door jambs and your new floor that you're going to be able to slide underneath. And you can just move your scrap piece around like that, and, you know, follow up with your multi-tool. Always keep it nice and flat. And that way now, as you can see, you're going to be able to flushly push your floor underneath, and it'll be nice and flush all around. Go ahead and do that with all your door jambs that you have as a preparation, so you don't have all the dust afterwards. So you can go suck it up now. So multi-tool that, you can also get a hand saw to cut it, but multi-tool will be a lifesaver when you're doing this flooring project like this. So next step after you get all that done is to choose and lay your vapor barrier. I'm going with the Aquabar B. There's all different kinds you can use. I just prefer this one over the felt paper, because when you double it up, it doesn't get as thick and it doesn't interfere so much with your tongue and grooves. You're also going to want just a stapler attacker with some heavy duty staples. And you're just going to go and lay this out. I like to leave a little bit of gap around the edge, so the floor is going to be laying like this because we're continuing in. I'm going to be gluing the part that is the threshold, just give it extra strength. And I might have to be gluing the strip here, depending how thick it is. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of an opening right there. And with underlayment, it doesn't have to be perfect. So you don't have to run seamlessly like from wall to wall. If there's low gaps, it's not that critical. It doesn't prevent moisture, it just slows it down from traveling through. So what you're gonna do is just tack it down. Now you have a slab stapler, you can use that. I just got this guy here, and this works. As you can see, perfectly fine for my needs. Got a couple of staples in the center. It's just so it doesn't move around too much on you when you're walking on it. And you're gonna wanna double overlap it. As you can see where this edge right here is, that's where you're gonna wanna overlap it. And you're just gonna do basically your whole floor like that. And it'll get as close as you can. More staples. And it's not necessary to lay the whole floor at once. You can literally do like me. I'm gonna be doing like sections at a time. As you can see, I gotta move this stuff around here. So we're just moving here. Gonna cut that off right there. If my blade will go through, that is. There we go. And you can get this aqua V-bar in your local Home Depot or probably other hardware store. Now when I'm gonna get around this vent here, you're going to see I'm going to cut out larger around this vent because I know I'm going to be gluing in a vent piece so that we have a flush vent flush with the floor. That's why I cut it out there. And even if it wrinkles a bit, just, you know. As I said, it's not the end of the world. Readjust it again. And I'm out of staples. And it's perfectly fine to use stuff from Walmart. The stapler was in the clearance section. Just picked myself up some staples for it. Oh, there we go. We're at the stage now where we can start laying the hardwood. As you can see, I got some hardwood stacked over here. For the brand, this is Great Lakes natural oak, 4-inch wide, 3/4 inch thick. Got it at Menards. Decent quality, I would say, for the price. Not the greatest, not the worst, but yeah, it is what it is. Anywho, let's move on to some of the tools you're gonna need to be able to lay this hardwood floor. One thing you're gonna need some type of air compressor. You can be this pancake one, works perfectly fine, and you're gonna need to run at about 90-ish PSI for your nailers. And you're gonna need best 2 type of nailers. The first is gonna be a cleat nailer. Look something like this. This one is a Bosch, and this one is nice. I got this rolling attachment to it here, so it sits. Let me quickly demonstrate. It sits like this on top of the hardwood floor, and when you've nailed, you can just slide it on your row back and forth without ever needing to lift the unit up. You can adjust it to different thicknesses, and it's pretty cool. Then you're going to need a 16 or 15 gauge finish nailer. That is for when you run up against the edges. For example, you'll see you will not have enough space if you're running like this, and vice versa. At some point you'll be like that, and you won't have enough space either, because the way this gun fires is with this hammer here. You strike it on here, that activates the mechanism that actually fires down the cleat into your wood. Next, you are gonna want a hardwood floor adhesive. I went with the Bostitch Best for hardwood. Don't take liquid nail or anything like that, because liquid nail gets hard. This one will get hard, but it stays elastic, if that makes sense. And since hardwood expands and contracts, you want that elasticity to remain. And we're only using this along the very edges, where usually you're not going to have a full piece. And I personally am going to put it also in high traffic areas. So all my threshold areas, I'm gluing those rows down too. Just as I said, it's high traffic areas. And then you're going to have areas, for example, right here. You'll see when we get to it, we're going to have a wooden air vent going in here. And you're also going to glue down that frame, and you're going to have the little pieces back here, which are also going to be required to be glued down in addition to nailing. Now, traditional nailing is going to happen here through the tongue, as I said, with the cleat nailer. Or if you're in a tighter spot where the cleat nailer doesn't fit, you'll be able to take this finish nailer and also nail through the tongue like that. Then the very last rows, you'll have to face nail, meaning like this down, in order to get your nails as close to the wall as possible. It'll usually be covered by your trim, and if not, they make wood waxes to put in there, which you're going to have to use on your pre-finished hardwood floor, because you're not sanding it and sealing it like that. So that's pretty much the only way you can finish it. You'll need some other little odds and ends, like things that will help. Square, speed edge. One thing is going to be important if you're running the nailer and the compressor is going to be hearing protection, because that nailer is pretty loud, and if you're whacking away for quite some time, it starts to get a little bit ringing. You'll get a little bit of ringing in your ears. Anyway, that's like the basic things you need. You'll need things like something to pry with when you get somewhere. I'll show you when we get to the very end. I can quickly show you now. There is a tool for the last row when you can't really knock the wood together anymore. Looks something like this. It helps you push it against the wall and pull the boards together. I'll show you that when we get to one of the last rows. All that stuff will be in the link in the description that you can pick up on Amazon. Pretty cheap. And all in all, most people already have a compressor. You can rent these nailers. So if you do it really fast on a weekend, there's only one room or whatever, you can rent the nailer. You can also just get a Harbor Freight nailer. They're not that expensive. For most things, that'll do well. And of course, then you're gonna need your consumables, which in our case, you're gonna need 2-inch hardwood flooring cleats. Or these bad boys here. They go into this gun here. And then I also have the 2-inch 16 gauge finish nails, which go into my other gun for the end rows. So you're gonna need a bunch of those. Look, when you're getting hardwood floor, look what your manufacturer says. Your manufacturer is going to tell you the spacing they want for you to nail. This one calls for 2 to 3 inch spacings. So you're going to need quite a lot of nails. The narrower of a board you choose, the more cleats and nails you're going to use, etc. So look on your manufacturer's website. They'll let you know what you need. So let's get started. As I said, I'm not starting a fresh row. I'm attaching to my hallway here. If you're starting a brand new row or a brand new room, laying the first row is going to be crucial to getting it straight, but you can check someone else's video out for that. This isn't really a how-to, it's just like how I'm doing it. Yeah, and we're going to go on checking out our first piece, which is going to be one long piece that goes right along here and run through there, and we will look at what we got to do to trim it to get it nice in, and then we're going to start from there. We're going to lay some boards. The first row is going to need trimming, as it's not going to be a full board. As you can see from here, it's only going to be a little sliver there basically. And once we get one or two rows set, it'll go pretty fast, laying down the wood the way you want it and nailing them in. And yeah, let's see if we can get some time lapse or some shots, and let's get to it. We already got a couple of rows down now. I already reattached the baseboard in the back there, just because you can see I had to move the bed back again. And went ahead, rolled out another roll of line of Aqua Bar B, and that's how we're just moving our way over, pulling lumber from multiple boxes, trying to, get a nice consistent pattern. You'll see it's much more difficult to get a nice pattern with pre-finished floor, because you actually see what the finish looks like. So unless you want to go through a ton of boxes and get a lot of waste to get everything nice and even, you're gonna have some odds and ends in between where they're not like 100%, but that's how wooden floor looks like, because if it's not pre-finished, you actually don't see what the finish is until you're all the way done. Yeah, so got more here, got more boxes, and it's just rinse and repeat. Up here, we're gonna come to the vent, and once I reach this here, I'm gonna show you how I'm going to be dealing with that. I got the pre-finished vent piece over here. You can buy these like that at the store. They're nice so that they're flush in with the floor. And then your vent piece goes like that. It does have a damper to open and close. I already pre-stained this and pre-sealed it. Depending which floor you have, your manufacturer should tell you what stain matches with it, so that you can have, a pretty close match to your floor and what finish you need to put on to make it look good. Yeah, so I'll just keep rocking away here, and I'll get to you guys when we get to there. So got one more tip for you guys that'll help you rip through an installation faster, is pre-lay several rows. Now, as you can see, they're all just loose laid, basically from here on over, but I already pre-laid everything the way I want. The ends still need to be trimmed and cut, that's why they're all up in the air. But now I can start nailing them from this way over, and then I can go cut several boards at a time as I get over where it's staggered, which will help me rip through this installation way faster than if I do row by row. I've already done a couple hundred square feet, so that's why I'm doing it like this. If you're still new to it, go row by row, that's perfectly fine. Just another tip for you guys. And yes, the vent's currently buried right there, and we'll get to it in a second. All right, we've reached the vent. So you can see here we come up to it. I have the vent located center over the opening, and I'm going to use that now to mark the outline of the vent itself. Kind of hard to do one-handed. So That's going to be the first piece I'm going to cut out here. I'm just going to stay shy on the inside of this line. And then this guy over here, I will cut the same width here. I'm going to have to shorten it. So let me show you how you do that. You flip it around so that it's basically the wrong way. You line it up to where you need it to end over here. And you just mark. And that's going to be cut off. So then when it's cut the appropriate way, it'll fit in perfectly there. And then this will sit in here. And then we will know, because I'm going to take both of these downstairs now, or all three rather. When this is cut here, and this sits in here, and this one is trimmed, that this portion here, when this one is here, needs to be cut the exact same way. And then when that is nice and snug and fit, we are going to glue this one in place. We're going to leave it loose for now because it makes it easier to do this from this side. And the other pieces will easily follow in suit. So, all right, I've got that trimmed out, and that is good to go now. So let's get some of our hardwood flooring adhesive here. Many hours later, we're finally finished with my son's bedroom. Well, 99.9%. The floor is down. The baseboards are back. We still have to rehang the doors, which is no biggie. And the tedious thing now is to go fill in all the nail holes from the last rows that you have to face nail in. And as mentioned before, since this is a finished floor, I'm going to be using a Softwax kit. This one's from FastCap, and it comes with different colors. You can see I've already been using mine quite a lot, especially that would be like this. Number 9, number 10, and number 5. Those are the most colors that I use to mix in with this natural hardwood floor. And it's very simple. You either heat it up with a heat gun and then rub it on and then scrape it flush so you don't see it anymore, which seals the nail hole. Or you can do like me. You can get yourself your soldering iron, put it on a low heat, get yourself an anglish tip like that, and then you can actually use it to melt the wax and then drip it into the holes themselves. The benefit of doing like that is it's easier to mix two different colors together. So if you're not, you know, this perfect shade here, but need a little bit of brown inside, it's easier to make, you know, the lines and blend it in a lot more. You know, this is a pretty long, tedious process. You got to go over multiple times, make sure you didn't skip any little holes, stuff like that. So I'm going to basically end the video here. Thanks so much for watching and following me through this project of putting this hardwood floor down. It's not so much as a step-by-step how-to, but it's just a video of how you can do it. Different methods out there. I'm sure somebody who does it professionally would do things different than how I did, but as you see, the results turn out pretty good, especially considering you're just paying for materials. And yeah, I'll leave you guys with a little bit of time lapse of me filling wax holes. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Do hit that like button, subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks.